This video made possible by the Global Innovation Exchange. Visit gixnetwork.org to learn more.
We like to call this kind of our geek show and tell component of the GeekWire Summit.
Yes.
And we're going to show off 3 super cool inventions handpicked by the GeekWire staff to come on stage, tell us in 2 minutes or less what they're up to, and then Todd, we're going to have some of our own thoughts on what it's going to be like.
So we'll then quiz each entrepreneur about their hardware invention, and really this typically devolves into us making some kind of fun of each other. And I think one year, didn't you like crack my head with a hammer into
the... Yes, we have the Vices football helmet that debuted here.
That's right.
And one of the famous, Taylor Soper, who was the famous quarterback who ran
Don't
up
ask,
on stage?
it was Damon Heward. I know who it was. All right.
Good sports trivia. Okay, he came on and hit Todd in the head with a hammer. It was fun.
Okay.
Anyway, we've got a live poll going for this, so you can vote for your favorite invention. So make sure to go to your app, and after you hear all 3 of our inventors here, you will have the opportunity to vote. And let's get started. First up is Haptics. They are aiming to give virtual reality more reality. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Bob Crockett, Haptics co-founder and lead engineer.
Oh boy.
To tell us more.
Oh no. Oh man. Oh no. Yeah.
Cool.
That was.
What do we got here,
Bob? That was a little weird, Bob.
Hello. What I'm wearing is one half of a pair of haptic gloves. And I got to tell you, this is a real honor to be here because today we're using this forum as the opportunity to publicly introduce our glove development kit. So we have a pair of gloves right outside.
A GDK.
It is the first time we've moved from prototyping mode to things that we're releasing into the wild.
Cool.
And
let Bob make his pitch.
All right,
Sean.
all right.
Come on.
I'm excited.
I'll tell you, I'm at a disadvantage here because talking about haptics is like dancing about physics. It's the wrong set of communication. So I would encourage you all to go try it. Try it after this, because you really will see what we're so excited about. What we have is a pair of gloves that when you put it on and put on the headset, you can interact with virtual reality in a natural way. You see a representation of your hands. We have precision motion tracking. You see where your hands are. You interact with objects that aren't there. There's an exoskeleton as part of this that physically prevents your hand from going through a virtual coffee cup. There's 130 tactile pixels on the underside of your hand that lets you feel that object in a way that feels natural. So this is really a tool for business. Our customers, our partners are lined up. They've been waiting for us for a number of years because they know the potential of VR, but they also know the limitation. I mean, we are tactile creatures, and if you're really going to do high-end simulation and training or high-end design, you need to be able to interact with that virtual world in a way that isn't just buzzing. It's a way that feels natural. And that's really hard. That's why it's taken us about 5 years to get to this point. But we're delighted about where we are. We now are working with our partners and customers to get them to deploy it to their customers or internally, and look for, as we scale up, the ability for a wider and wider group to have access to this technology. So thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely.
This is cool. So yeah, let's hear it for Dr. Crockett. Yes. So Dr. Crockett, what is the main use? Is this a consumer product, enterprise product? Where's this going to be used?
So it is strictly at this point an enterprise product. This is a business tool, and it has to reach a threshold, a certain bar of believability to be a useful business tool. You can certainly imagine downstream that location-based entertainment is a natural fit for it, and eventually there's no reason it couldn't be in homes. But our philosophy was to build something that works well, cost be damned, and there are enough people out there who have been dying for this sort of tool that's how we start out, and that's how we're going to broaden.
So cost be damned. Is this a $300,000 device on your hand?
No,
what is the approximate price?
I mean, this is a device that costs what you would expect a business tool to cost. So that means it's on the order of a CAD system. That's the sort of price point that we're shooting for. There's a lot of hardware that goes on in here. But our customers, you got to realize, they're saving millions of dollars by doing it in a virtual world as opposed to mock-ups and other physical simulators.
So I do see the HTC Vive logo here. Does that mean that that's the
This is a Vive puck. So the way that we do our tracking, the puck is taking care of the gross position in the hands, but we need very, very precise positioning because we're interfacing with game engines. So we have Unity and Unreal And if you're going to use the physics of those game engines, they give you the information that we need to make our judgments of what's going on, but you have to be really precise. So we have a magnetic tracking system on each of the fingers. We're tracking 5 digits in real time down to sub-millimeter precision, and that's what it takes.
So what is the best use case of this in a industrial or enterprise environment? Give us one that you think really would resonate.
Well, interestingly, the one that has jumped to the front over all the possible uses is the automotive industry. We are working with most of the top automobile manufacturers.
Yeah, I was thinking even the video, just like aerospace manufacturing, you could imagine something.
When you are designing the interior of a car and you're trying to decide a button placement or what the glove box feels like when you close it, those sort of decisions, as bread and butter and mundane as they are on an engineering basis, require physical prototypes, physical mock-ups, long times. So we're saving. I mean, this is a direct use case where they see what we can offer, they see the realism that they provide, and we're saving them time and money.
So you said 5 years ago, this has been germinating for 5 years. What was the entrepreneurial idea that initially struck that led you down this path?
So my co-founder, Jake Rubin, is now, gosh, all of 27 years old.
Yeah, I think he was nominated for Young Entrepreneur of the Year at the GeekWire Awards in the past. Yeah.
I'm a professor down in California. He came to me with as a 22-year-old college dropout with an idea to build the holodeck, build an environment in which you couldn't tell the difference between the virtual and the physical. I didn't hang up on him. We spent about a summer together, and I really realized that this is not your average 22-year-old. He's an amazing visionary. He had the idea for this system. I couldn't prove to myself that it couldn't be done, so we just did it.
Awesome.
Excellent.
There you go. Let's hear it for Dr. Crockett and Haptics.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And they are actually showing it off in the lobby, so after our next session, you can go try it out for yourself, see if it actually works here on their debut. So next up, we have Evernu, which is tackling the unique challenge of textile waste. Please welcome Evernu CEO, Stacy Flynn. Come on up, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy. Welcome.
Welcome.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Go for it.
Glad you could be here.
Okay, great. So 40 years ago, we threw everything away. Today, we wouldn't consider throwing paper or metal away because they're fully recyclable. Now we can say the same thing about our clothing. Evernu is a technology that takes garment waste, we liquefy it, and we push it through a 3D printer to create premium new fiber that can make premium new clothing for brands and retailers. Well, one of the coolest things about the tech is we can break down the clothing we make 3 to 4 times before it naturally turns to sugar through starches. So this is a prototype we made for Levi's. This is a wear test sample. And this entire garment can be dissolved and broken down in the future. The only thing that needs to be removed are the copper hardware and zipper. And we do this in a way that cuts water by 98% compared to cotton. And we cut CO2 by 90% compared to polyester. But by preventing these garments from entering landfills, we can prevent that methane from occurring. So in terms of the apparel industry, it's a big deal. We don't have a lot of sustainable solutions. The apparel industry is one of the most damaging industries on the planet, and it's projected to double in size over the next 10 years. So the industry is desperately looking for technologies that are powerful enough to scale and to also create products that exceed the consumer's expectations. So that's what we're doing with 4 global brand retail partners right now. And as of this week, I got my first purchase order to go to retail. So hopefully we'll be at retail next year and then scaling globally by 2020.
Wow, that's fascinating. Great pitch.
What were that is excellent. Congratulations. What were
This is a prototype, so this is something you worked on with.
Yeah, it's a wear test garment. So Levi's has this objective where they've identified cotton as the single greatest risk to their business. So we developed a prototype. They want it to look like cotton, feel like cotton.
It feels just like these jeans I have on. Yeah.
Well, if you were to wear them, they actually keep you warm when it's cool out and cool when it's warm out. So they have thermal regulation properties.
So
and maybe I don't need to wash them. That would be even better. I don't wash my jeans anyway. So.
Well, you know, real denim people don't.
Yes.
So wait, is this better than cotton in some applications?
It is. The beautiful thing about it is we can take cotton garment waste, liquefy it, and simulate the best qualities of cotton, the best qualities of polyester, the best qualities of rayon or silk, because we have so much design capability when it's in its liquid form, and then when we print it, we can turn it into any shape and form.
So what is the business strategy here? Is it to be kind of the Intel inside, and you're going to be in Levi's, or do you see your own brand that you're going to develop and market on your own?
It'll be both. It'll be Evernu, powered by Evernu. So it'll basically be when people see the Evernu logo in their garment, they'll know it's made from their old clothing, and that garment is recyclable. So that's the big objective for 2019, is to build the whole supply chain side. We've spent the last 4 years developing the depth of our tech, developing the market. Now we're building out the ability to scale.
And what about the cost of that pair of jeans versus the pair that I'm wearing today?
Well, you know, cost is great. I love to go toe-to-toe on the cost question because I spent the first 20 years of my career making really cheap product. And I saw what that was doing to the environment, because the water, the energy, the environmental conditions as a way of making cheap product are actually killing the customer. So I believe we've got to charge what things actually cost. So when we build a new brand, you only get one first. So whether we're working with Stella McCartney or Target, the goal is to retail at the highest possible retail for that vertical, because we can always bring price down. We can never bring perception up. So.
I love that answer. You hear from, I talk to so many entrepreneurs, and they're always trying to drive the cost down on the product. You're like, nope, we're going the other way. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, pay more.
Yes, good to hear that from an entrepreneur. Awesome.
Pay more.
Where did this idea come from?
Well, I've been making textiles and apparel commercially for over 20 years. I went to the Fashion Institute in New York City, classically trained as a textile engineer. In 2010, I began making clothing out of recycled plastic waste for a startup in Seattle. And they sent me to China looking for sources of manufacturing. And I'd been to China so many times before this trip. I've worked for DuPont. I started Target's raw material division. Worked for Eddie Bauer, but these areas in China that I went into, no life can live, and I just saw how damaging our industry is, and I and my business partner and everybody who's on the team is now vowing to use the rest of their careers to find solutions that are powerful enough to scale.
So Stacy, when can I buy a pair? You sold me.
Well, you know, I have gotten in trouble for quoting when my brands would have product at retail, so I'm no longer allowed to do that.
Okay.
But I will say, hopefully next year.
Next year. Okay, that should be safe enough.
Which stores should we shop in?
Well, Levi's is definitely going to be one of the launch brands, and we have 4 global brands, 3 are public. Levi's, Stella McCartney, and Target are all public. We have 1 global athletic brand as well that is not public that will be coming out next year.
Excellent.
Awesome. Stacy, thank you for being here.
Thanks so
Stacy
much for
Evernu.
having us.
Yes, thank you. Okay, good stuff. Our last presenter today is SEEVA Technologies, which is helping vehicles to see. All right, please welcome SEEVA founder and CEO, Diane Lasinger. Diane, thanks for being here.
Hi, guys. So I'm Diane Lansinger. I'm the CEO and founder of SEEVA Technologies. We're actually based here in the Seattle area, and I'm delighted to be here because we've never spoken in front of a Seattle audience before. So
Well, I'm glad to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
So how many of you would really love to be able to take a ride in a self-driving car when you're on your commute to work? Yeah, okay. So I'm calling it right now. You're going to start seeing self-driving cars at some level of interesting scale. By 2025, this is something that the automotive industry fully believes in. And by 2030, 2040, your kids, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will think that driving a car is nothing more than a quaint hobby like horseback riding. Okay? So that's the space that SEEVA Technologies works in. We help cars see better. And if you think about how cars and trucks see today, it's primarily driver perception. It's how drivers see the road. Sometimes it's with advanced driver assistance systems, cameras, sensors, LiDAR that are parsing data from their physical environments, and then it's helping the driver make decisions in the road. You'll see lower levels of autonomy, like on the Tesla Autopilot, level 1, level 2, that can maybe help you stay on the road, but not hands on the wheel in terms of your attention on the road. What we are going to be working on specifically is helping the car see when you are no longer a part of the driving equation, okay? So we've developed this technology here. This is a core part of our larger system that we have in development. This is the SEEVA Therm unit. And what this does is it takes a very trusted substance in the automotive world, which is washer fluid. It heats it up very quickly and very efficiently, and then this core component is part of a larger system that we have in development that's going to be piloting next year that then distributes that washer fluid around the vehicle so that it can clean the surfaces of cameras, sensors, and LiDAR in fractions of seconds. So this is our core tech. You're welcome to hold it. You can feel it's very lightweight. I don't recommend hitting John on the head with it.
Please do. I mean, you'd be woken up at this point.
And I'd like to say that this is in the spirit of being invention-oriented. I co-founded this company with my dad, who just turned 79. He actually invented this in his retirement. He's an automotive engineer with over 50 years of experience and a couple dozen patents to his name. So.
Fantastic.
So cool. So cool.
So where are you in terms of the overall product development, the evolution of this company? Give us sort of a status update.
Yeah, sure. So this particular product is actually in market today for commercial vehicles. It's all about human driver perception enablement, helping humans see better when they drive. This, as I said, is a core component for a system that we're in development with. We're talking to pretty much every major automotive manufacturer in North America and Europe at some stage of conversation, where we have a system in development now that will be deploying on advanced driver assistance vehicles and also autonomous vehicles in pilot in the next year or two.
It's hard to break into that supply chain in automotive, especially for a system that's tied into the rest of the systems there and so critical. So how are you navigating that?
My dad had some connections from his previous job. Before I started this a while ago, I was a recruiter at Microsoft, so I got up on LinkedIn and started shaking the tree. We did a lot of parking lot demos when we were in early stages, when I wanted to see if I wanted to shut down another startup I used to have going and launch this. Those went really well. We went straight to the engineers. The engineers get very excited about this. And then my dad and I did the Techstars Mobility Program, which is actually in Detroit. I moved to Detroit with my dad for 3 months. And the Techstars Mobility Program has almost 300 mentors, all from the automotive industry, all the big tier 1 suppliers and all the big manufacturers, and we met a lot of people there.
So I got to ask, what's it like building a company with your dad?
It's awesome, actually. It's really great. I mean, my dad and I, we've always had a great relationship. And he used to always say, oh, I can't believe I didn't push you harder to become an engineer. And what was interesting was I actually used to work at Microsoft, and when he came to a point where he had done a pilot run of this in market, and we had some vehicle manufacturers approach him and say they wanted to buy more, there was no more of his pilot run. And I was just listening to him over a beer. And I said, geez, you know, Dad, I think if we wrap some ones and zeros around this and automate this, it could probably be self-driving car technology. And he's like, oh, honey, you know, that'll be coming later, and I don't know if I'll be around. And I saw an opportunity. And so what we've seen is our relationship has evolved in a way that he's seen sides of me and my capabilities that he didn't know existed. And likewise, I've seen him in a whole new light, too. So it's been
awesome.
a really wonderful opportunity.
Yeah,
that's
very
great.
Cool. Well, thank you, Diane, for being
you
here.
both. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful stuff. So now we have all given you the cue. Make sure that you vote for your favorite pitch. This is where you go to the app, vote for your favorite pitch. We will be awarding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what.
So while you're voting, it's been interesting, John. You've been covering startups in this region, the Pacific Northwest, since '03.
Jeez, 4 years ago.
Have you seen an evolution away from software or beyond software into hardware? Because traditionally, with the Microsoft roots here, that it's been a software town.
I have seen more hardware, certainly growing up in Seattle, and that's fun to see, because then we have more cool stuff to show at Inventions We Love. So while everyone's still voting out there, I do want to, we had the opportunity to go to Seattle Center with Starla Sampaco of our TDLR video series, and so let's show what some other people in the Seattle community would like to hear about when it comes to invention. So let's see that video.
What do you think is the greatest invention of all time?
Plumbing, because I like having a toilet and shower.
Definitely the internet.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
The toaster oven.
Post-its. Yes, I love Post-its. Where would I be without them?
If you could invent anything, no matter how outrageous or technically impossible, what would it be?
Probably a way to make the traffic in Seattle a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, flying cars would be pretty cool, but feel like that'd have its own issues.
Something that could instantly make any kind of food that I wanted, just press a button, get it, just because I like food.
Like a personal flight unit, something that, some kind of jetpack.
A rocket that could carry my car and maybe another car, and it could come back, just like Elon Musk's.
Probably time travel.
Maybe the Star Trek transporter.
I would invent a dust machine so it would suck all the dust out of my house and I would never have to dust again.
So good.
Starla, you found so many good people out there. It was fantastic.
I do think plumbing was the winner, though. I mean, really, plumbing.
Well, plumbing was good, but I have to say, even in some of the folks that we didn't show, one of the common themes was jetpacks, flying cars. People are so sick of the congestion at this point that the time for the jetpack has finally come. So if there's any takeaway from the GeekWire Summit, it's 2 words, jetpack.
That's right.
That's what you need to invent.
So I think it's time to see what you in the audience like in terms of invention. Let's take a look. Evernu, 73%.
Wow.
Look at that.
That is crazy. That's off the charts.
Yes. All 3 excellent pitches, really.
Yeah. I would invest in any one of those.
All 3 of those. I mean, those were well-honed pitches. So congrats to all of our entrepreneurs for being here today. And we're coming near a close. We're at our final session of the day. So